Okay, let's talk about the Carlson's barrel for Benelli, Supernova, and Nova shotguns. In case anybody doesn't know, the Nova and the Supernova, as far as the receivers are concerned, they're both the same gun. So, bolt, the barrels are all interchangeable. Cosmetically, they're a little bit different. The Supernova allows you to mount an optic on it, or a rail for like a shell carrier. It comes standard with a Comfortech stock. The Nova does not. And you've got this kind of angled trigger guard on the Supernova that the Nova does not have. Otherwise, internally, they're the same gun. And it even says that on the barrel itself. If you can see it, I don't know, the light's probably crap, but it does say fits Benelli Nova. And as you can well see, it's on a Supernova shotgun. So, I got invited to a clay target shooting event. I started looking for aftermarket barrels. If you want Benelli aftermarket barrels, they're crazy expensive. Expect to pay anywhere from like $300 to $500 for an aftermarket Benelli barrel. That's when the Carlson's option caught my eye and I started looking into those. They come in 3 different lengths. You can get them in 24, 26, or 28. They all have screw-in choke tubes. They start out with a modified. That's the choke tube that's in it right now. I never saw any reason to swap it out. It's got, you'll see here, it's got a fiber optic front sight on it, and then it's got a brass bead halfway down the rib. And the sight picture that you want to use with that, if you are using just the standard bead sights that are on it, you want to line those two up with each other. You don't want the brass underneath the fiber optic. I shot both ways with it when I first got with my first barrel. I'll go into that story. But the answer is, if you want to know what the sight picture is on it, you shoot with the brass in line with the fiber optic, and that way you know that you've taken a lot of the parallax out of the sight picture. Otherwise you'll shoot high. The first barrel I bought, and I won't mention the retailer because I did have a problem with it, but it was not the retailer's fault. It had rust on it, and I can probably put a picture or two of that in as we're going along here. The first barrel I bought was a 26-inch, and I learned 2 things. One is that barrel, where the rib met the barrel, had rust on it at the back. That was the manufacturer's problem, not the retailer. It was a 26-inch barrel, so it did not fit in a standard rifle case that I had for it. If you've already got a shotgun case, no big deal. But the 24-inch, which is what's on this right now, is the only one that will fit in a standard rifle case if you want to use a case you already have on hand, unless you're a big shotgunner and you've already got one. That one I sent back to the retailer. It had rust on it. I got a second barrel, which is the one you're looking at, the 24-inch. I decided would be perfectly suitable for what little I was going to do with the gun. And I got that from a different retailer. Again, nobody's fault one way or the other, but that one was perfectly fine. No rust, no corrosion, no problems. And it was actually a little bit cheaper, but I won't go into that. These retail for anywhere between like $200 and $250, just depending on where you can find them and if they have promotions or whatever going on, which is a lot cheaper than buying an actual Benelli factory-made barrel. Lest anybody be confused about it, even though the barrel does say Carlson's Atwood, Kansas, that's where Carlson's is based. That is not where the barrels are made. They tell you right on the barrel itself that they are made in Turkey. I don't know, you guys probably can't read that, but it does say made in Turkey on the barrel. I imagine that had maybe something to do with the quality control issue I saw on the first barrel. Apart from that, I patterned it, I was able to zero it, it works just fine. As you guys can probably see in some of the footage I might roll in, it does work, it's perfectly reliable. I've only had maybe 1 or 2 problems with it that were probably ammo related, or I was just maybe trying to cycle the gun too fast or something. The Benelli is a very smooth gun from the factory, so that's actually kind of easy to do. The only real quality control difference that you can tell between the barrels is in the detent that actually holds the magazine cap on, or whatever this is called, that retains the barrel onto the gun. That's kind of rough on this Turkish barrel. But that detent in there, again, I don't know if the light's right for you to see that, but the detent that engages with these teeth on this ring, it's a lot rougher on the Carlson's barrel than it is on the factory Benelli barrel. So I will say that the attention to detail on stuff in Italy is somewhat greater than it is in Turkey. The detent on the factory Benelli barrel is super smooth, and I've never had a problem with that, either having to remove the barrel or spinning it to tighten it up when I put it on. I would make sure you inspect it when you first get it, make sure there's no corrosion or any other defects in the barrel when you first get it. But apart from that, I mean, I would say you can be pretty confident in your purchase on that. So, alright guys, see you later.